Today we have 6-5. Yes, Nico. So today we're doing 6-5, which is your point. So that's given a point, x, y, and your slope, m. So point slope form equation. So we have in the past done our slope intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b was your y-intercept. Yesterday we did the standard form, which was ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are whole numbers. So we have a, b, and c are whole numbers, and this is what we had yesterday. And remember, we found our x and y-intercept to graph. So those are the two things. When you take your next quiz, you'll have your slope-intercept form and your standard form, and finding your x and y-intercepts to graph. Today is this new equation, and it actually is quite easy and handy. So today we're just learning how to plug it in and use it. So the first thing we have is, given a point, x1, y1, you put it into the equation here. Notice that it is the opposite sign. So whatever your x and y are, it's going to be always the opposite sign of your point. Your m is still going to be your slope. Also note that y's are with y's and x's are with x's. Alright, so let's move it up, and now we're going to use the point slope formula to create a point. So we start with y minus, what is my y value? My y value is my 1 or 7. This is my x value, this is my y value. So my y value is 7. What's the is this positive or negative 7? Positive. So the opposite is negative 7. So we have a negative 7 is equal to my slope, my m, which what is my m? Negative 3 times x, and it's the opposite of my x value. So what's the opposite of 1? Minus 1. Alright, so I want you to try number 2, doing the exact same thing. I want you to try number 2. As a class, we're going to do this as a class. So I go y, and we have our y value is negative 4, so we have plus 4 equals 1/2 parentheses x plus 6. Alright, that's as hard as it gets today, really, because we're going to go forward and backwards, but that's as hard as it gets. That's all we're doing today. So we do have to bring into things that we learned before. How do I find the slope? It's our y's over our x's. So we're going to find our slope. Our y's subtracted over our x's. So remember, it doesn't matter what point is first, so I'm going to go my y's. So remember that this is my x, this is my y. That's my x, this is my y. So I'm going to go negative 4 minus a negative 2 over negative 3 minus 3. Negative is positive, so I have negative 4 plus 2 is a negative 2. Negative 3 minus 3 is? Nope. If you owe me $3 and you owe me another, would be a negative 6. Are we done with negative 2 over negative 6? No. A negative and a negative make a positive. And 6 goes to 1/3. So m is 1/3. Now, it doesn't matter what we have our slope, and we need a point. It doesn't matter what point we use. We would still, after we simplify, we're going to get the same number. But we're going to use our first point. So we're just to be the same exact thing with every single person, we're going to always use our first point. So I want you guys to use your equation. Remember, it's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And get me an equation using this. Using this slope and that point. We have, our first one is going to be y. What are we going to put here? What are we going to put next? So we're going to use this as our point. Yep. What one is my y value? Negative 4. And remember, it has to be opposite, so it's not going to be negative 4, it's going to be plus 4. Equals my slope of
3. Oh,
1/3 times x, and then what are we going to do after it? Plus 3. Positive 3, so plus 3. Questions? Alright, I want you guys to try number 4. Try number 4. The first thing you're doing is you're subtracting your y's over the x's is your first thing. How do I find the slope of this right there?
7 minus negative 4.
7 minus a negative 4.
Over 2 minus 1.
Very good. Then what?
Then it equals 3 over 1.
So a negative and a negative make a
Positive.
positive. So this has to change to a positive, right? So we have 7 plus 4, which gives me 11 over 1. So my slope, my m, is 11. Very good. Alright, how now will I go and put this into my equation for my point slope? I'm going to go y, and we're just going to use the first point. So it will be y minus 2
equals 11.
Parenthesis.
X plus 1.
We're going to, you have to go back to that same point.
7.
Oh, actually, which one, just wait, yep, time out, I just saw it. Which one's my y value? Which one is my y value? Is 2 or 7 my y value? 7. So this one should be with the 7 because that's my y value. What's then my x value is here, and it's opposite. Negative 2. So we have y minus 7 is equal to 11 times x minus 2. Now this is called, who can tell me what this was called? What is it called when it is in this form? Anybody remember? Point slope form is right. Now, how could I take it from my point slope? How can I take it from my point slope to my y-intercept form, the y equals mx plus b form? How can I take it from this to my y equals mx plus b form? You would distribute and then add 7 is right. So on tonight's assignment, it does say to do this, and then it says to put it into the y equals mx plus b form. If you understand to distribute and then add 7, you can do both, because I know some of you need the challenge. If you don't, I'm happy with today just knowing our point slope. If you guys can do this part today, I'm good with that. Alright? So, but if you can do the other one and you want to do the challenge, it does say to do both on your homework tonight. Alright, anybody not have this one? Alright, flip it over. This is the exact same thing now. And what you're doing now is you're taking the point slope equation and you're pulling out the point and you're pulling out the slope. All right, so look at your x's. Where are your x's? Your point, remember, is x, y. So my x's are here, and we have to go opposite. So what is my x value, class? 2. Positive 2, because it's opposite. My y value is 5. What is my slope? A half. So remember, you look at your x values, opposite, y values are opposite, and the slope is right here. Now, remember that all points on a line have the same slope to get to the next one, right? Slopes are the same on the same line, right? So, what you do is you go to this point. How do I plot this point? I go right 2, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's my 2, 5 point. My slope, 1/2. How do I, from this point, how do I do a half? I have rise, Ben, up 1, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Positive, positive. I could go negative, negative. That's still, because a negative and a negative make a positive. So that's why it's still on the line. So you have down and over. All of these points are on the line. Then we connect them with our straight edge. And you only do need 2 points, but I just want to show you where your points go. And you put your arrows, because it goes on forever. Alright, I want everyone to try example 5. So I want you to find the point and the slope and try to graph it. Let's just find the point and slope just to make sure we have right on that. So take a few seconds and find your point and your slope of example 5. Yep, so now we'd have -1, -2, because it's the opposite of those. And my slope is -2. Alright. Question about the point or slope. Yes.
How come this time you put the X before the Y?
So we go -1, -2. So -1, -2. Plot a point. My slope is -2. That's my rise. But what about my run? How can I find a number for my run? It would be 1. You'd put that 1 underneath that. So you would go down 2, right 1, because we have negative and positive. Or up 2, left 1. So we have, because that's still a positive, negative. Just remember your directions are how we can find it. Plot that point and arrows. Alright, I want everyone to try example 6. So because this is -3, you put 3, and because this is 1, you put -1. Very good. And my slope is, this is -1. If I had just a plain old x, do you know what number is always understood? That's a 1, right? So it's the same thing here. If there's no number in front of a parenthesis, it is a 1. So that's a -1. So you go 3, -1, 1, 2, 3, -1, and I plot my point. To go -1, I have to go down 1 over 1. Down 1 over 1. And then I connect my points. Down 1, right 1.